Good morning to this new day, this new Monday morning, this new week, and the sun is just rising above the horizon. In Tamara, we drew the card for this week, the goddess of change, and that set me into a mode of contemplation. What does change really mean? And there are two lines that I contemplated since last night, and that is the one I noticed or I observed in myself how challenging change is. Of course, we like to talk about change and things should change and I want to change and others should and all that, but I was actually going more to the level of perception and interpretation, and I noticed how much concentration it needs to change a situation, to change the perspective. And I know this can happen through shock or through a surprise, but to actually bring change through a diligent effort, I would say, is a work that needs a lot of concentration. So many of my perceptions and interpretations are repetitive, are habit, are part of my character structure, are part of what I know. And actually there's today, as many things get confirmed by scientific data, there's so much data and research done of what it really takes to make a new experience, to not confirm or discuss, contradict the imprint I have, the neurological, the conditioned imprint I have, but actually come to this very moment, to this very presence and perceive what is truly now the case, the situation. And I dedicate this week to observing and making that change possible, of slowing down enough in self-perception, in perception of the world around me, to make change possible. In a way, I have to get in between something that is happening and my own reaction to it. I have to bring consciousness and a little bit of gap into that very place. Yeah. And the other line of contemplation that came into me was the difference when we say the goddess of change, I speak in my surrounding, we speak a lot about a time of transformation. And there's this idea of transformation and there's an idea of metamorphosis. And we often mix it. And in a way, transformation, it's transcending the form, it's changing, it's still within, how do I say that, an incremental process of change. And then we often use the butterfly example, the caterpillar, as an example of transformation, but that is actually metamorphosis. And I say that because many times when I'm concentrating and I'm centering and I'm opening my perception, I come to a place where it is not just transforming, changing, also in a strong way, what is, but actually metamorphosis, which is not just changing what is there, but actually birthing something new from what has been there. And that is where the butterfly and this often used parable of having a caterpillar and then mush up to something which has no shape at all, and then being the rebirth of the new form. And actually I do feel sometimes that this time is not asking only for transformation, like a snake shedding the skin, but actually for a metamorphosis of fully changing the core of my being, of the nature of human relation to earth and the rest, not for all, but for many, of changing the perception of reality. Yeah, and having said all this and contemplating that, I also just sat down with my altar and asked, what is this week about? And this I need to share as well, because a real surprise came in. After contemplating so much, is something new possible? There was only one word that was emerging in myself, and that was joy. This week is about joy. And I tell you, I was surprised. And innerly I knew it's not the kind of, I'm not sure that joyful things will happen, that good things will happen that satisfy my idea of happiness. But in that instant I knew, there is nourishing and paying attention to the joy of being alive. Really, like sensing the privilege that I have a Monday morning where I ask myself, in freedom, with most of my needs being met, in freedom, having the privilege to ask myself what this week is about and what I can contribute to a better, a more humane and a more connected world. So, joy. With gratitude, I greet the network of the Ring of Power and wish you all a very good week.